It's a warm Tuesday afternoon here in the capital. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the polls. This afternoon on the polls, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta remains in ICE custody under detention number 720 for at least 79 more days after a U.S. immigration judge on Tuesday postponed a ruling on his lawyer's bail application.
Had previously requested for him to be released on bond. What his lawyers are trying to do is basically to get him out of detention. He's detained. I'm sure he's very uncomfortable in his current situation, and they just want to get him out.
Meanwhile, chants of bring back Ken Ofori-Atta reverberate in Accra as Arise Ghana intensifies picketing the U.S. Embassy in Accra, demanding the former finance minister be deported to Ghana. And sparks flew in Parliament as the majority tore into the minority over calls to sack the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. We have details as the majority turns its guns on the deputy ranking member Nana Safweje. We have details of that, plus 15 recalcitrant drivers arrested in Ablikma by a new GPRTU task force in a fresh crackdown on transport operators accused of charging multiple fares across the capital.
You name the entire watching. You name the entire watching. So, we charge multiple fares. I didn't yes, I charge you.
We have more as a major decongestion exercise targets Kwame Nkrumah Circle following Tuesday's fire as the Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly moves to preempt further fire disasters in the area. And later, we turn the spotlight on former Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum campaign as the NPP enters the final stretch of its internal contest to choose a flag bearer just days away. The Pulse, as always, is live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and on all our social media handles. We're JoyNews on TV. The Pulse is brought to you by Deaf and Drill Cough Expectorant, Deaf and Drill Breathe Easy, Feel Better. My name is Faustina Safo. As usual, please take a seat and be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. Now, this afternoon, the legal troubles of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, now held under a unique ICE detention number 720, are far from over as he's set to remain in a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody for at least 97 more days until an immigration court reconvenes on his case in April 2026. But we know that on Tuesday, Judge David deferred a bail bond redetermination application filed by his lawyers, but granted their request that all subsequent proceedings be conducted off camera after arguments that the case involves sensitive security matters. There's more in the following report.
After nearly 2 weeks in U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody, embattled former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has appeared before a U.S. court to plead his case. Ken Ofori-Atta left Ghana in January 2025 for medical treatment in the United States. About 2 weeks ago, ICE authorities arrested him for allegedly overstaying his visa. In his first public appearance since the arrest, Ken Ofori-Atta joined the hearing via WebEx, an online platform. He appeared in a dark detention jumpsuit over a jeans shirt, which he later removed before taking his seat. He wore medicated glasses and a blue nose mask. This was his second bail hearing after the first was dismissed. A deputy consul from the Ghana embassy in the U.S. was also present. Presiding Judge David then called the case. Lawyers for Ken Ofori-Atta, led by Christopher Chasen, asked the court to make the hearing private. The judge agreed. Ken Ofori-Atta is also being pursued separately by the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Office of the Attorney General over alleged corruption-related cases including efforts to extradite him to Ghana. The immigration case has been adjourned to April 27, 2026 at 1 p.m. For JoyNews, Michael Ashali.
Immigration lawyer Janelle Oklu explains what transpired in court on Tuesday night is just the beginning of the matter about his bail condition and has nothing to do with the extradition request filed by the government of Ghana. She spoke on PM Express with Evan Spencer.
To be clear, I know that, it was stated that today was his deportation hearing, but in fact, that's not actually so. What was happening today was a redetermination of his bond hearing is what I got. So essentially, his lawyers had previously requested for him to be released on bond. What his lawyers are trying to do is basically to get him out of detention. He's detained. I'm sure he's very uncomfortable in his current situation, and they just want to get him out. They want him to be able to, return home for the rest of this process instead of essentially being, in detention, as you see him there in his uniform, in the jumpsuit. So the lawyers had previously requested it. It was denied. And so today was a redetermination. So his lawyers are requesting once again for the judge to allow him to be released on bond. So that was what today's hearing was. The other thing is the next step would have been, if we could have been, able to hear, but unfortunately, it's in camera, we couldn't see any further. The next step would have been the master calendar hearing. The master calendar hearing is the hearing where basically the charges against him are brought. And I'm talking about immigration charges. The immigration charges against him are brought. We are not getting into criminal issue or the extradition.
Now, with the case now set to potentially travel a long haul, international law lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School, Professor Appiagyei Atua, says the only way this matter can be truncated is if Ken takes a personal decision to come back home.
Yes, he could, based on the fact that the revocation of his visa and the case that has been brought before him, which led to his appearing before the immigration court, yes, it's not based on his having committed a crime in the U.S. It is only when he has committed a crime that the U.S. court will try him, and if he's found guilty, will serve his time. And after serving the time, then he will be deported from the country. Okay. This is a purely immigration matter. And number two, the extradition aspect is also there. And as we know, extradition can take a very long time to deal with, and it's going to take the resources of the Department of Justice of the United States and so on. And so if on his own he decides to return to Ghana, he has the right to do so. Yes, he has the right to freedom of movement, and the freedom of movement means that he can leave any country at any time. There's only a restriction on entering another country, which calls for a visa. So if he's exiting the country, he has the right to do that. Any day, any time.
Okay, so in effect, he can decide to come to Ghana, and that's the end of the case.
That will end the case, both the extradition case and then the immigration case against him.
Well, joining us now on the telephone line is a member of Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team, Frank Davies. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Now, you have had 2 court dates ahead of you, based on what we are told yesterday. Your first appearance is on the February 19, if my memory serves me right, and then second on April 27. Now, what do we expect to happen on each of these days when you go to court?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To your cherished listeners and esteemed viewers. I just heard your immigration lawyer made some comments, but I want to straighten matters because I heard her say that this is the second time a bond application has been posted for Ken. Well, I don't know where she's taking her facts from. so far as I am concerned, and a member of the team of lawyers in collaborating with the American company. This is the first. Yesterday was the first time that bill was posted, or the first application here, consequent upon the notice to appear the NTA hearing last night. So I don't know where to take that information from. Ken, through his lawyers, have not posted any bill application or bond hearing ever. It was only last night, and I want to put that firmly on record. Now, last night, up to the point that the link was disabled, we also saw the proceedings thus far. And yesterday, after whatever has been done, and the judge has postponed or adjourned the matter to the 27th of April for the NTA, continuation of the NTA hearing. Because the notice to appear, as I've repeatedly said to the media outlet, is when I picked up anyone like him who was done, you have to appear in court to give reasons why you should not be returned back to your home country, or for that matter, deported, or why you should continue to remain in the jurisdiction. So that was what happened. And the presiding judge had to adjust the matter to the 27th of April. Now, when that was done, and the lawyer, Christopher, was the lead counsel, brought up the bond application matter. The bond application or the bond hearing is akin to a bail application in Ghana. Now, when the matter was raised, the lawyers representing the state raised an objection that was an extradition request for Ken Ofori-Atta. When they raised that objection, the judge asked for them to satisfy the court with any proof the extradition process was requested. At that point, so far as my instructions go for my counterpart, at that point, the state authorities could not produce any ample proof of any extradition request. So the judge was compelled to adjourn the proceedings for a period of 30 days for them to reappear on the 19th of February to contest the bond application hearing. So those are the two court dates. 19th of February is for the constitution of the argument or submissions for the bail, and 27th of April is for the constitution of notice to appear proceedings.
Mr. Frank Davies, I'll have to come in at this point in time. I wish you could speak a bit louder for us. We're struggling to hear you. But then on the 19th of February, does it mean Ken will still have to appear before the court, or this is just legal documentation that the U.S. authorities will have to provide to the court without the presence of Ken Ofori-Atta?
To appear in court nonetheless. He has to appear in court. So he'll be in court with his lawyers.
So will his bail condition or application for bail be determined on that 19th of February, or will that be determined on the 27th of April?
The bond or bail application will be determined on the 19th of February. The 27th of April is for the continuation of the NTA, which has to do with the adjustment of his immigration status. So the 19th of February is solely for the bond application.
I see. And based on the briefing you've received, how is it faring after yesterday's hearing?
Well, Faustina, I tell you always that the good Lord Almighty God keeps you 10 and my good self alive every other day. He's doing extremely well. He's fine.
I see. And so legally, are there other impediments in your way based on the briefing you received from your other legal counterparts in the U.S.?
Oh, not any strict impediments that I'm aware of. But let me say on the threshold that the bond application is contingent on 3 factors. First, whether after the release or removal from the detention facility, if Ken is released on bail, whether it will be a flight risk or whether he will pose a danger to the community in which he is presently residing. And the last but not least is whether he is able, ready, and willing to post the bond. You know, in America, you will have to post the bond, and I think you understand what posting the bond means. So those are the 3.
And then looking at...
You should be able to satisfy the court that you will be able to pay the amount that will be imposed, yeah.
I see. Yesterday, he opted for an in-camera hearing. Is there a specific reason why he chose that?
Well, the counterpart lawyers had indicated that there were some matters of a very sensitive nature which they didn't want to be put in the public domain. And the judge granted that request. It's on the veil. It is on the veil. These hearings are either private or a closed hearing, as it is called legally, or is a public hearing. So yesterday was a closed.
And if you don't mind me asking, what are some of these matters? Is it because of the concerns about his extradition request?
Faustina, these are clients who are privileged. Respectfully, I'm gagged.
But I'm sure you've been monitoring the local scene as well. And you know that around Ghana, they're still on the streets. Today, they went back to the U.S. Embassy. They're chanting, bring back Ken Ofori-Atta. Is that of concern to you?
I said yesterday that freedom of expression and freedom of speech, freedom of association is fundamental. I cannot begrudge what you're doing. But if the proceedings of yesterday or last night for that matter is anything to go by, I'll err. All right, done. Temporarily for what you're doing, because this will not change anything in America. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the plain truth. Holding of placards, running up and down the streets of cantonment on the prisons of the American embassy, and chanting and singing war songs and saying all kinds of things about Ken. Some very insidious comments. I mean, very, very invidious remarks and all that. Will not change anything. The law works in America as it should work in Ghana. I think we should all wait for that to be determined. As ticketing at the American embassy, I don't know what it is meant to achieve. I honestly don't know what it is to achieve. And I think we should cut a nice international picture about ourselves. If we say that we live in the rule of law, why are they not patient enough for the process in America to be determined? And we will want to think that the American government will just decide to curtail whatever is going on, put aside the extradition request, and then put Ken Ofori-Atta in a plane and bring him to Ghana. I mean, with great respect, I'm also a Ghanaian. We are all Ghanaians. It is not just about the public.
Frank, stay with me. Let me just let you watch what happened today at the U.S. Embassy. And I'm told that, in fact, members of Arise Ghana are still stationed at the front of the U.S. Embassy as we speak. Stay with me. Watch this.
Just in front of the embassy, they've crossed the road, which is the U.S. embassy's, the U.S. government's jurisdiction. I believe my camera guy will show you the visuals. But I have Honorable Hobson Adoye, lead member of United Party, and also I have Solomon Owusu, also here, Director of Communication for United Party, that I'll be engaging. Mr. Hobson, yesterday you were here, today you've come here again.
Yes, we need to give our support to Arise Ghana to make sure Ken is back home so that we start the processes.
But we know yesterday the court proceedings happened, and we know that the judge decided to adjourn the case to April 27th, and also asked that on February 19th, the government provide the extradition request that government of Ghana has asked. Is it not something that you should give you some level of satisfaction, knowing very well that the extradition process is already ongoing?
Yeah, we know it's ongoing, but Americans, these are the language that they understand. Are you getting it? Demonstrations like this, they understand it. People can lie that, maybe Ken is being persecuted or something of that sort. But when they see a demonstration like this, they know that, then there is a call from the citizens. So they speed up the process for us. That's why we are here. We are going 14 days, minus the weekends. So after 14 days, if we are not getting what we want, we'll continue to do it. And we know, at the court yesterday, before they truncated the proceedings, we heard that the state attorney put before the judge that there is a petition from Ghana to extradite Ken Ofori-Atta, and the judge said it's not before him. So that alone is good. When we started here yesterday, it was 3 a.m. in the USA. So before they got to the court, they've seen whatever happened here. They got the pictures, the videos, and all that. So we'll continue to pursue until we achieve what we want.
I'm grateful to you. So that's Hobson Adoye, member of the United Party. He is a former member of the New Patriotic Party. He was in the same party with Ken Ofori-Atta, the former finance minister. Let me speak to you. You should be at work, I am sure, by now, but you've decided to be here.
My name is Hefia Kranchwa. I'm Hobson's deputy, field operations of UP, United Party. In fact, this call is a call for all Ghanaians. And I'm so surprised that I'm not seeing MPP people here. Because if we must be honest to ourselves as Ghanaians, it's even the MPP who started telling Ghanaians that Ken is not a good candidate. I hope you remember that. They did not even release a press statement. It was a press conference by the member of parliament. And they pleaded with him to step aside for their party. Now, I was expecting the MPP MPs, member of parliament, to be here because they used to sit on the floor. Listen, they will sit on the floor. So I was expecting them to come here, sit on the floor at the U.S. embassy and plead to Ken, please come. Because apart from maybe Baumia being our burden, you're also carrying the party's shame. Right. So come and release us from this shame because we are going on primaries and all Ghanaians are saying you've taken our money. The money that Ken has stolen or taken, he has deprived so many Ghanaians and the youth from jobs, medicals, roads, everything. So this demonstration is a concern to every Ghanaian, every market woman. Apart from Ken collapsing bank, he tortured people individual, but you understand, he killed indirectly. So this call is a call that must be very, very important to every Ghanaian. And by the 14th day, I'm expecting MPs led by Afenya Markins to come and sit here. Right. Because we are looking at them. Right.
So I have the communications director for the United Party. I'll come to him. But on my right in the road, you can see that the people have decided to occupy the area. A few minutes ago, they were sitting in the middle of the road, causing traffic. No vehicle is able to move up or down here in front of the U.S. Embassy. Sir, earlier I engaged you. I'm sure it's not going to be anything different. Absolutely. But of course, we know that today you've taken this particular picketing to a top notch. Why?
Because we believe that the matters involved are very serious and that it involves the bread and butter issues that we have been talking about. Here was a Minister of Finance that led us to borrow close to $13.5 billion. You know the state of our roads in this country, very deplorable. We believe that there are answers that we need to know how the monies were used and where the monies that we anticipate has been stolen are. It's as simple as that. And the people that you see on the road, they are the owners of this country. Remember, our constitution says that the sovereignty of this country resides in the people. And when we say the people, these are the people. And they are the people calling for accountability. And let me tell you that in the days coming, the numbers will be larger than this. They must not take this exercise to be one of those things. And this is why we entreat the American people to be very serious with the Ghanaian. They must not create the impression that they are shielding corrupt officials from Africa. They have been talking about accountability. If Ghanaians are pushing for accountability, they must be the first country to support us to make sure that accountability happens. So it's a good thing, and we believe that they will heed to our call.
I'm grateful to you. So that's the communications director for United Party. So here at the United States Embassy, and today is the second day of Arise Ghana's picketing, demanding that former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is deported to the country.
Well, you just saw the visuals of what transpired today, and I'm told that they're actually still at the U.S. Embassy. They say they will still be there till 4 p.m. today. Frank, I'd like to wrap up with you. Your final words on this. Is this of concern to you? Will you at least be pursuing any legal action against some of the leadership of Arise Ghana?
You see, it's sad. It's a sad commentary on the democracy, the rule of law, and the due process we all say we cherish in this country. Listening to Hope Sinadoy, come on. I don't know what to say, but sometimes we should just lace our tongues and with caution. You make such hurtful, such pernicious, and such invidious remarks about someone who has not even said a word in court. Ken has not even been tried. He hasn't had any say in court. So if people like Hope Sinadoy, who is supposed to be a responsible officer in a political party, talks this way, you think Ken doesn't have reason to be apprehensive because he's been condemned in the court of public opinion. Words like he has stolen money, he's a thief. But who has stolen what? Has Ken been tried? Sometimes I also tell people, you should, when they talk that way on your radio station, you should be concerned too. Hope Sinadoy, if he was being taken to this drill, he will be happy. He is Ghanaian. Ken is from Papua New Guinea. Ken is from Afghanistan. Ken is from Pakistan. But he hopes is a full Ghanaian. So the rights that he has, Ken doesn't have. Somebody who has not been tried, and you make such prejudicial, judgmental comments about him, it is unfortunate. And I'm sad. And the lady who was talking about Ken, look, listen to me. We were all told by Ambassador Smith that there will be extradition proceedings in respect of Sedinam Kamaklu today. Hope Sinadoy and the life of him and Arise Ghana, they are not petitioning the American embassy for Sedinam Kamaklu to be brought. Somebody who has been tried in a criminal court of competent jurisdiction, convicted of stealing money that belongs to the state. Hope Sinadoy is not interested in that. The lady, I don't know her name, she says she's deputy to Sinadoy. She is not interested. I mean, such selectivity, carelessness, manifest disingenuity, the disingenuous conduct coming from Ghanaians. And they want everybody to be carried along with that. Are they not interested in setting up Matthew? It is kind of interesting. Someone who has not been tried, as opposed to one who has been tried and convicted. They are not petitioning for her to be brought to Ghana. It is shameful. This selectivity is shameful, double standard, hypocritical conduct. But Ghanaians will know them by then. I think they should concentrate more. Hobson and others should concentrate more on building the political party they are from and stop this. I mean, this is mushroom politics. It doesn't do any good to our country. Why? Is Ken the only one who is going to face criminal prosecution? And look, first I'm telling you, I'll repeat ad nauseam. Kenneth, Nanaya Ofori-Atta is not scared of criminal prosecution. So those who are saying he should come and account, they should rest their voice. When it is appropriate for Ken to come, he will come. Whether by extradition or otherwise, he will come. And when he comes, he will face the full trial of the law. Nobody is shielding Ken. Nobody should have that conviction that anyone is shielding Ken. But Ken is at all material time supposed to have legal representation. And that is what is as a Ghanaian. Nobody can take those legal rights of him. So those who are making all kinds of uncontrolled noise, I mean, to just advise themselves and listen to the state and watch the state and stop this. And he says what Americans what Americans understand this. The Americans, because they come and run around the American embassy, then there are Americans who do what? I mean, this is how pitiful is understanding of international law. I'm scared for this country. This is how pitiful is understanding of international law. And these hold themselves as political officers. So come on.
Frank Davies, stay with me, because the Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, has been addressing a news conference, and he's just been talking about Ken Ofori-Atta's time before the judge yesterday. He says that though he came before the court based on immigration issues, he's very confident that the extradition process would be triggered almost very, very soon. So let's listen to him. I'll come back to you for your reaction on that.
Thank you. One person that you've been looking for over the period has to do with the former finance minister. Yesterday he was in U.S. court. I'm sure you monitored that. What's your own thought on that?
Well, the American authorities are handling the process, and they are handling it in accordance with American law. So far, I don't find anything wrong with what has taken place. As you rightly pointed out, I monitored the hearing yesterday, and I have had reports from the United States regarding what has happened and what may happen, but these are confidential discussions, and I'm not supposed to talk to the media about what they have briefed me on.
Yesterday the trial judge said something. He said there's no proof of any extradition request, and that it should be filed by the federal government before February 19. What's your own thoughts on that?
No, the Justice Department is working on the extradition request. Now, you have to understand that what is happening now is in relation to immigration immigration law violations. All right, that is separate and distinct from the extradition request. And so, if it was put in before the the immigration judge that there's an extradition request, he wants a formal, filing before him. So the Justice Department would have to do that before a decision is taken.
When will that happen, based on your contact?
No, I don't control what happens with the Justice Department in the U.S. So,
but are you hopeful that this will go through for Ken to come back to Ghana?
I am very hopeful, extremely hopeful. Thank you.
And I still have Frank Davies with me. Your reaction to that?
But our Attorney General, whose cup of tea is always wearing 3PC and addressing conferences. What do you have to say? I'm happy himself now has realized, and is now telling Ghanaians, after the high quality remarks, he's now telling Ghanaians that the immigration the NTA hearing yesterday stands separate and distinct from the extradition. That is great. I mean, to start with. And I'm sure since he is conversant with that, he will not be and be paying the country. This was the same who was sending out and took that Korea will be brought on the 20th of January. He will be in Ghana, or at end of January, he will be deported. And you see, let us all be very careful with what we do and what we say. We are trained lawyers. You see, and with the pain of repeating myself, when matters are unfolding in court, let us be patient. Because look, an accused person, a person of interest or a suspect is supposed to have legal representation unless he doesn't opt for it. So when the matters are unfolding, let us tell Ghanaians the truth. Don't let us raise their expectations. And then when the converse happens, then we can try and spin all manner of stories again. Ambassador Smith said Ken Ofori-Atta was going to be brought today or tomorrow. Felix Ofosu-Kwati, Minister of State of Government Communication, said the same thing. Appiagyei Atua, Minister for Foreign Affairs, also had a confidential whatever with the American ambassador that came. We can't even put it in the public domain. Now, Ayeni can, please. You see, we are slowly but gradually destroying the fabric of our legal system. And it should not get to that. I have great respect for Dominic, and he knows it. He's my very, very good friend. Very, very, very good friend. You know, but when it comes to matters of law, there's no friendship. When we go to court, we say what we have to say. When we come out of court, we leave hold our hands, we have a bottle of beer or whatever, and walk. Let us put the issues where they stand, and let us state the facts as simply as they are. Yesterday, we all saw what happened. Okay? We are going back on the 19th purely for the bill bond posting. Nobody should take anything. 27th of April will be a continuation of the NTA here. The extradition proceedings will take another form. The immigration hearing is a purely administrative matter. Routine, common, normal. Extradition request or proceedings stands separate. It is a distinct legal remedy or process. And we should all understand. Let us keep Ghanaians at comfort. Whatever it is, come what may. If Ken has to come into this country, he will come. Ghanaians should be patient for him. And stop condemning him when he hasn't even said a word in court. They should stop that. It is not healthy. It damages our judicial system and the sanctity of our criminal justice system. It is just not right. No accused person has a burden of proving his innocence. I've said it one too many. The guilt of an accused person is proved beyond all reasonable doubt by the prosecution. I think by this time, what they should focus on is putting their evidential proof together and making sure that when Ken comes into the country, they will be able to lawful operation in court. That should be their headache. Not just running around, then he's coming to Ghana today. When he comes to Ghana, why? He will not pay trial. The mere fact that Attorney General or the OSP say they did that. I thought the OSP said he had 5 corruption-related cases against the OSP, against Ken Ofori-Atta. He is 5. Now we have only 1. Let's say, what again is coming? Always, let us be calm. But see, tell Ghanaians we should all be calm. Ken is no less a Ghanaian than all of us. He is no less a Ghanaian than all of us. But when Ghanaians who are in court and facing criminal proceedings have been made to go home by this same Attorney General, Ghanaians are not concerned. Oh, come on. Ghanaians are not concerned about that. When this same Attorney General, there are people who are standing criminal prosecution, they are standing criminal trials in court. And he comes to enter only prosecute and frees them. Ghanaians are not interested. Hope Sinador and others are not picketing at the Ministry of Justice. But someone who has not faced any trial at all, this is what we are doing to him.
Frank, stay with me because I'll come back to you to find out why exactly he cannot just come back home, really, because you've told us times without number that Ken is not scared of prosecution. I'll come back to you for that reaction, but joining me now is Bernard Mornah, and he joins the conversation. He's leading member of our Rise Ghana movement, and he joins the conversation, and we appreciate your time. We've just been hearing from Frank Davies issue a stark warning to you to desist from making defamatory comments against his client and also halt this protest against his client. How do you respond to these concerns? Mr. Bonner, you have, Bernard Mornah, you have to unmute for me to hear you.
Okay, thank you.
I can hear you loud and clear now. Yes, I can.
Well, what else could I have said to Frank Davies than to say that he is within his legal right to speak the way he speaks? The choice of his words are for him to do. But he doesn't have any right to warn me as to the choice of what I want to do. If he thinks that I've committed anything abominable, Frank, you know the way to the courts. That had been your mantra, and the mantra should not change. If I have said anything that you think is not acceptable, you represent somebody who, in my opinion, has put your integrity into the gutters. You were telling the whole world that your client was sick and that the reason why he is not coming to Ghana is because of ill health, and that when he is treated, he will be in Ghana. You should be ashamed and worried that your client is now well and is choosing other routes not to be in Ghana. You are not concerned about the reputational issues. Go and review your various media interviews across this country, where you proclaimed that your client, when he is well, he will come. Letters and upon letters, responses to OSP and other institutions were to the effect that the reason why your client is not in Ghana is because of ill health. Now that he has been in detention at the ICE facility, is that a medical facility? Is that a medical facility? The levels of accusations that we have made, if they are untrue, he should be determined to come to Ghana to come and respond, so that even your little image that you had put on the line for him, you will be saved. Frank Davies, you can't be saying the things you are saying anytime. Who should desist from what? And you cannot desist. You are not a Ghanaian than anyone in this country. You have right to choose your paths, and I don't want to be in your path or your lane. But don't tell me that I cannot choose my path. Secondly, what are the issues that we are talking about? COVID-19 monies were disbursed in manners inappropriate in this country. Aren't you aware? If you are indeed a true Ghanaian, you should be worried that your client acted in manners that were irresponsible, giving COVID-19 monies to his company without any list of beneficiaries or any certificate of insurance to anybody.
Allegedly.
This is a lie.
Allegedly.
Was it not your client who paraded everywhere that going to IMF was an abominable thing, and that e-levy was the panacea to the problems that we were facing? Soon after that, didn't we go to the IMF? Is it not your client that advised President Akufo-Addo on the domestic debt exchange that has become what I described as legacy regret for President Akufo-Addo? Because any opportunity that he gets, he speaks about how he regrets the domestic debt exchange program. Was it not this same client of yours who spoke to us through our members of parliament that there was going to be the construction of what he termed a national cathedral, which has now turned a national pit, and that no public resources will be committed to it? As we speak, over $97 million have been committed to excavating a national pit. See, decency requires that you have always spoken eloquently about your client's ill health. And all of us, as I keep insisting, we committed our ancestors and our oracles and all our prayers to get your client to get well. After getting well, he's seeking to extend his stay in the United States than coming to Ghana. You should be ashamed of that and not about me.
So, Bernard, you would continue with this protest at the U.S. Embassy? Is that what you're saying?
We have indicated that we have a 2 weeks long protest to embark in our first phase. It's all right. The Ghana Police Service that we notified has no problem with that because we have conformed with the law. The U.S. Embassy security have no problem with that. We have conducted ourselves decently and respectfully.
But Frank Davies really is not questioning your right to demonstrate. He's questioning your choice of words when describing his client, which he feels is defamatory.
And I'm saying that it is within his right to choose his words. If he thinks that my words are harmful and inimical or damaging the image of his person, he knows the route to follow. I am not a timid soul. And Frank Davies, you, even if I am a timid soul, you are incompetent to warn me for me to be afraid. Get it right.
But let's look at the turnout today. The numbers you were expecting, is that what you saw on the ground?
I don't know why anyone talks about any numbers.
But the numbers matter. It shows the number of individuals who are with you. You agree?
I said from the outset, I had indicated that we were 9 who started this whole process. And when we were meeting with the police, I told the police that mine is to go and protest. And I was shocked that persons that I didn't even think will come there, they were there. Apostle Abraham Lincoln was there. Martin Kebu was there. Solomon Owusu was there. Hostina Doi, persons that I didn't barrage for, and many others who were previously of the same stock with Frank Davies. They were all there. There were people that came that I don't even know them. Yesterday, you will say the numbers were mild. Today, there was an increase in the numbers. Who knows what the numbers will be tomorrow? Because this is a public invitation for those who have the time to come. Frank Davies, you are welcome.
It appears that your strategy today also changed compared to yesterday. You were advancing to what we term as U.S. land here in Ghana, even beyond the security barricade. Is that your strategy now?
No, yesterday we sat for a considerable time. Many of our members complained of numbness. And so I, as somebody who is into sports, encourage that no, we cannot be sitting at one place and will not suffer numbness. And so once in a while, we'll take a walk. And the police were informed of what we wanted to do. So we will walk up, come down, come and sit for a while, and then walk. So everything that we did, we informed the police.
I see. Stay with me. Let me get a reaction from Frank Davies. Frank, he has raised some salient concerns, especially because we heard from the ambassador, Ghana's ambassador to the U.S., Victor Smith, tell us that even before Ken was held in detention in that ICE facility, a medical examiner examined him and they found that he was fit to be in detention. And then, Frank, we have the concern being raised by Bernard Mornah that all this while you told us that your client needed medical attention, the reason why he failed to show up in Ghana. Now he appears to be fit. Why not just come home?
Faustina, you did not call me to your program or show for me to get into a banter of words with Bernard Mornah on your show.
Far from the case.
Hello. Nobody told, and I'm going to take this up because I'm really disappointed with what is going on. And tell Bernard Mornah that I will not involve myself in any exchanges with him. It is needless, okay? If he listens to me carefully, I have not warned him, I have protected him. I started by saying that there's freedom of association, there's freedom of expression, there's freedom of speech. But I don't think what is happening there will have any bearing on the processes of positions in the United States. It's not offensive for him to be saying the kinds of things he's saying. Bernard Mornah, the reputation I have built for myself as a lawyer, you cannot do for yourself ever. So don't talk about me, you ruin my reputation. I have not ruined any reputation of mine. But if you have been listening to me consistently, you will not be making the remarks you made. I am not interested in sue you in court or whatever. It is just not necessary. I'm just saying that pick your words carefully. Pick what you say about people carefully. Because if the answer says and it is you will not find comfort. When somebody has not been tried and convicted by a court, you don't call him a thief. You don't say he has stolen money. At least you are educated enough, even if you are not a lawyer. So I don't think it is well. But Tina, you called me that we talk about the 15th February hearing and the 27th of April hearing. I finished with that. Can I be excused?
Mr. Frank Davies,
Can I be excused?
If you would pardon me, just for some few minutes before we let you go. Finally, as we wrap up the conversation with you, and even just to get your thoughts on this, will he at least be coming back home based on your talks with your client? We've just been hearing from legal brains tell us that all this process can be truncated if Ken, out of his own free will, decides to come back home. Is that an option on his table as we speak?
From you again. Can I be excused? I don't want to be rude. I don't want to leave your show. Can I be excused? I'm not going to answer any question from you again. All right?
Thank you, Frank Davies. He's member of Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse. But Mornah, your final words.
Well, what I can say is that I am not into this, but since yesterday, I was not able to join the conversation. And the kind of words Frank Davies used and were reported to me. So possibly today I got out of my element. But that should tell you that I also have blood running through my veins. And that if you attack me, I will get back at you. So, sorry, senior. But more importantly, all we are interested in is a man who held the purse of our nation for nearly 8 years. We have, and institutions have investigated to realize that whilst he was holding the purse, he had actually perforated it and the coins were falling off. We want to find out why you did that. Come home and answer those charges. You cannot be running away. Today you are sick. Tomorrow you are seeking visa extensions. If you do that, what you are telling the whole world is that indeed there is merit in the charges that have been leveled against you, the reason why you are running away. I don't seek that Ken should be imprisoned anywhere. I seek that if indeed all the allegations of financial impropriety are true, can we get our money back? If we actually imprison Ken, the state will spend money to take care of him, pay him, give him accommodation, feed him, and bath him. And so that I don't. The second and final point I want to make on this subject is that, look, we want people that are holding public office on our behalf to know that if you go and do what Ken Ofori-Atta has done, you will be called upon to come and answer. Ken Ofori-Atta running to the US and seeking asylum would embolden other public officers that after all, we can also misuse our office for personal gain. Allegedly. When it is time, we can also run away. That is a dangerous precedent.
But you agree that these are allegations that has not been proven by any court of competent jurisdiction.
The man is running away from the opportunity.
Allegedly.
No, the man is running away from what you call allegations to be substantiated or rejected. And when they start calling thief, and you are not a thief and you start running, everybody will start looking at you as the thief. So in this instant that the man, they say you are a thief and you are running away, who do you think you are?
Bernard Mornah, we appreciate your time here on The Pulse. He's leading member of Arise Ghana. We've just been engaging in him, as well as Frank Davies. You're still watching The Pulse. Please stay with us. We'll be back after this quick test. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, with just days to the MPP's presidential primaries, all 5 aspirants are crisscrossing the country in a final push to secure delegate support. Within the party machinery, preparations have entered the final phase, including the printing of ballot papers, while all 5 contenders are expected to sign a peace pact tomorrow as part of internal processes for the election. Well, here on The Pulse, we know that we have been engaging the various camps to track the progress on the campaign trail. This afternoon, our focus turns to the camp of the former Education Minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, to assess the state of play in his camp. Joining me in the studio is the campaign manager for Dr. Yawase Duchum, Dr. Jamefi, and he is joining the conversation here. Dr. Jamefi Ajabo.
Yes,
right?
please. Yes.
I appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Many would describe your camp as very quiet.
Yes.
Why have you been very silent?
It depends on the strategy and how the populace or the delegates are looking at it. You know, the term quiet depends on the strategies we are using, you know, because we are not really attacking any other person. We are doing issue-based campaign and idea-based, what we can do, what Dr. Yawase Duchum can do. To do that, you need to move very solemnly so Ghanaians will really understand where you are coming from. You know, our voters and the population, Ghana, they are so discerning, the delegates, so they need that kind of strategy. That's why our campaign has been very quiet. But we are getting the message across, and the reception has been very buoyant. Everybody knows what Dr. Yawase Duchum stands for and what he can do for the MPP as a party, the delegates, and Ghana as a whole. So if you say it has been quiet, that has been part of our strategy. But the message is sinking well and is really making that impact we are looking for.
Is the message really sinking well?
Very much so.
Are you sure? How many delegates are even on your side?
If you say how many delegates, I can tell you almost all the delegates, we want them and they are on our side because of what Dr. Yawase Duchum stands for. Of course, we have done some research and, you know, analysis in the system, and we know that where Dr. Yawase Duchum come 31st January, which is Saturday's week, he is going to emerge as the flag bearer of MPP. So that is what we know now, and we are working closely with all the stakeholders involved and every person supporting us, including delegates and party folks, to make sure this victory become a sounding one and very peaceful, so MPP can recapture power in 2028.
But then, really, he's not contesting for the first time. We've seen him in the race a couple of times, and his performance hasn't been quite impressive.
No, Dr. Yawase Duchum.
Why are you confident that this time it will be different?
I mean, a point of correction, this is his first time that he is contesting. And I know what he has done when he was, you know, sometimes you need to study, you know, you need to do some background analysis on all the candidates, what they have done in the past. All of them has done a lot of good job for the people of Ghana. Any of them stand a chance or is the requirement needed for them, they qualify. But when it comes to Dr. Yawase Duchum, what he has done over the years when he was the Minister for Education, you see what he did, you know, transforming Ghana's education from the traditional system and to digital, and his launching of the STEM education and the role that he played when we needed to implement the free SHS. It's something that Ghanaians always remember when it comes to Dr. Yaw Sedutwum. And remember, when it comes to Ghana, our education, the time before Dr. Yaw Sedutwum became the Minister for Education, if you look at the whole Africa, we were rated number 17. But after he took over, Ghana was number 2. The only country that was leading us was Tunisia. And now if you look at West Africa, Dr. Yaw Sedutwum magic also touched there, and Ghana became the first country when it comes to education. The baseline for that decision was because of the STEM implementation and the STEM ideas that he brought. And if you look at MPP, even the time we were going into 2024 elections, everyone can testify that we campaign, majority of our campaign tools were based on education, the achievement in education. Dr. Yaw Sedutwum launched over 80 schools in one day, and MPP can attest to that. All Ghanaians can attest to that. So his achievement is why I am so satisfied and very confident as the campaign manager that Dr. Yaw Sedutwum is going to be the flag bearer and subsequently will be the president of Ghana in 2028, 2029, January 7th. It will be confirmed and everybody will be happy about it.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of polls out there.
Yes.
The most recent one by Info Analytics, just pointing to who exactly is leading the race based on the individuals they sampled, the delegates, and they put Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a forerunner in that race, followed by Kennedy Japan. Your candidate isn't doing so well in that poll.
Yes, it's a.
Are you worried about it?
Never worried about it, not at all. I am a researcher myself, and I don't reject any work of another researcher. The amount of work that you put into research is very enormous. It's very tedious. So if Info Analytics has come up with data like that, nobody in my capacity or Dr. Yaw Sedutwum's camp will reject that work. But guess what? When it comes to research, it depends on how you sample, you know, the sampling, and of course the objectives of the research, even the methodology that you use. So if your objective is to maybe sway the camp of maybe sway some voters for a certain person, then the objective and the questions, the research questions will focus at certain, you know, it will take a certain line. So in order not to garnish that, results, Dr. Yaw Sedutwum's camp, we are very careful not to reject any research that comes out, but instead we use it as a baseline for us to also do our research and other stuff. We have also conducted a lot of research, and the results that we have seen, Dr. Yaw Sedutwum is doing very well in most of the regions. In whole Central, the same Info Analytics, somewhere in June, July, he came up that Dr. Yaw Sedutwum is leading whole Central with 37 plus points and other regions. So, you know, it's not a bother to us. It's not a problem. You know, of course, like I said, research, there could be type 2 errors and other stuff. So if you're a researcher like Dr. Yaw Sedutwum and myself, and we know what the nitty-gritty and the ingredients that goes into research, you could see there is a skill or there's a margin for error, and anything can happen. Like I said, the objective behind and the intention could play a role. So we don't really pay much attention. What we pay much attention is the research or the results for January 31st. That's the best research you can ever get. That will be the results that everyone is looking for. So at that time, when we see the results, that could be a valid data that we can go with. But as of now, any other research is just their work that they are doing. Of course, we don't reject it, but we don't pay much heed to it. That's what our camp is.
We've had concerns from different camps, Brian Champon camp, saying that there's a grand scheme to elect a de facto candidate. Do you have concerns about that?
Not Dr. Yaw Sedutwum's camp. I believe that the voting processes has been very is done right. And I will commend Mr. Joe Wise of course, Honorable Joe Wise for the work he and the Presidential Election Committee that MPP has selected to do the work, what they are doing. I am part of that committee. I am representing Dr. Yawose Duchum on that committee. And so far, any issues that we have brought up has been really addressed well. And they take the issues step by step and do some analysis to make sure that the issues that we raise is valid. So I think the process has been so done right, and we don't have any concerns as of now. So I don't know why the other camp are saying that, but as of now, we know we are winning, and we are focusing on the day, 31st January, to win the election, and Dr. Yawose Duchum can lead MPP to bring everybody together.
You think he'll be a unifier?
Very so, much so, because look at the campaign. If Ghanaians will testify, or the delegates will testify, everyone sees me and they say, man, your campaign has been the most attractive and issue-based, idea-based, free from any attack compared to any other camps, because we believe that Dr. Yawose Duchum will win. And after winning, he will need every other person. All contestants are very magnified to the party. They are of good weight to the party. So we will need them. We will need Dr. Bawumia. We will need Honorable Kennedy Japan. We will need Dr. Brian Champon. We will need Engineer Kwabene Japan, because we know that we can win alone. We will need everyone to come. So Dr. Yawose Duchum is very careful. Look at his choice of words. Look at his demeanor when he's speaking. Look at how he has campaigned so far. And look at everyone, his followers, all the campaign team. We don't say anything against any camp, because we believe that after every competition, there is collaboration. And we all believe we belong to the same party. That is MPP. It means we are coming from the same womb. So if, let's say, Atta did not get, Tewia got, why would Atta be mad at Tewia? Because we are all coming from the same womb. So our campaign has been run so well and diligent and very free from any attack. So that is how Dr. Yawose Duchum stands tall when it comes to the unison ambit of the campaign.
And will you be signing the peace pact tomorrow?
Of course, yes. We stand for peace. And we believe that when it comes to peace, it's something of great value. So Dr. Yawose Duchum sees peace as something that he don't want to stand away from it, even though our representatives all across are not going to be the ones that will be at the frontier of bringing any issues in any polling stations. But we are going to sign it because he believes that MPP comes first. Nobody is come ahead of MPP. So Dr. Yawose Duchum is going to sign tomorrow. He will be there. It depends on how things go tomorrow. Regardless, the campaign team will be there. Our Chairman Opombio, myself, campaign manager, Dr. Jemfie Dwabo, and all the team will be there to support him to sign, because we believe that's the only way MPP can recapture power. We have to come together, and peace must prevail in the camps of MPP. The times we are in is not a good time. We need someone who is very ready to lead, someone who Ghanaians can say that you are ready and divinely very selected. Remember, it's only 214,000 delegates that are going to select the flag bearer. After that, 18 million Ghanaians has to look at that selection and decide or provide an adjudication of the person to make a decision that this person stands tall. So we will elect the person to become president. So we don't have to forego what Ghanaians want. So the election is done in two folds. 214,000 delegates electing a flag bearer. Then Ghanaians will see if they accept the person. So we are paying attention to all that, so we don't make any predictions or any position that would destroy the party, for Ghanaians not to see the party as very attractive. So we are very careful, and we are going to win.
But you don't have time on your hands, do you? How many communities have you visited? How many regions have you visited so far?
We have done almost, I could say, the regions. I think the last time we checked, we have done close to 9 regions, and we have 16 regions. You are right. Time is of the essence. But guess what? We have able regional coordinators. We have other party stewards that are doing so well for Dr. Yaw campaign. They are very reliable. They are trusted. They are people that understand the message. They understand Ghanaians. They understand what they are looking for, just like our candidate is speaking in other regions. So we are not perturbed at all. We know that Dr. Yaw will win, and the other regions that he is not able to go, either the chairman for the campaign will go, myself, or any of the regional coordinators and operations director. It's a whole force. It's a whole team, very big team behind Dr. Yaw, and all of them are very formidable and ready to make sure MPP make history by electing Dr. Yaw come January 31st, 2026.
Apart from winning the internal primaries, which you're optimistic of, you have the next phase of the race, which is to convince Ghanaians that your candidate is the man for the job. What message will your candidate be giving to Ghanaians if indeed he wins the primaries?
If you ask me, based on the campaign and me being the national campaign coordinator or campaign manager, the difficult hurdle that I see is even to wrestle the flag bearership, which we are going to win January 31st. The easiest of it is to market or to sell Dr. Yaw to Ghanaians. I think he has already sold himself based on what he did at education and his global appeal. He is very appealed to Ghanaians, very appealing to Ghanaians. Ghanaians sees him as some, like a gold, that somebody that must lead the country because of the things he has done over the years. So it will be easier to sell a person like that. Look at the endorsement, religious people talking about Dr. Yaw leading a ministry like education ministry and coming out without any blemish of any corruption or anything. And look at his vision, his leadership acumen. He believes in servant leadership, serving the people. He believes in purposive leadership. He believes in delegational leadership, transformational leadership, which Ghanaians need as of now. So he is posited to make sure that he can achieve the Ghana we want come 2028. So the easiest of the selling point, me being the campaign manager, is selling Dr. Yaw to the Ghanaian populace. That is the most easier. He's already sold himself. What we have to do is to go to every region, meet all Ghanaians, and present him to the populace for them to have a feel. And when he start to speak and start to talk about his stories, how he became Dr. Yaw, trust me, Ghanaians will dare see that there is hope for everyone, irrespective of your location. Wherever you are, there is hope. Because Dr. Yaw started from a manger, from a humble beginning. He started from nowhere. They have to sell a pig to pay his school fees. His mother, Yang Kroma, had nothing. His father, Yaw has nothing.
So you think that's a message Ghanaians would listen to? Should your candidate even lose? Is he willing to work with whoever the delegates choose to lead the party?
Yes, I mean, he's not going to lose, but definitely as a team player as he is, he's not going to, leave MPP. Never. I think it's something that has never crossed his mind because of how he sees Ghana, how he sees MPP, and he's a citizen, Ghanaian citizen. He believes in unison, so he will never leave. And one of his greatest message is to make sure they take away poverty in every place in our country. He makes sure that everyone becomes very, very not well-to-do, but I can afford something, day-to-day activity. Every child can go to school and, parents can afford petty trading and other stuff. And his vision is focused on education. That is the baseline. And not only education, but to use education to propel other areas like the economy, to propel agriculture. He is talking about how he's going to bring mechanization agriculture, to modernize agriculture. He's talking about bringing ICT jobs for every Ghanaian. He wants to make Ghana just like India, Singapore, and China. So he's leadership is even kind of related to that of Deng Xiaoping and Lee Kuan Yew and those people in other places that have used education to build a nation. So Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, I think his message, and what even makes people happy is his message about bringing free university for the people of Ghana, free university education, which is very important, my sister, because if he has played a major role in free senior high school, we need to create a pipeline of educators, pipeline in all sectors. So after free SHS, you don't become a dropout, you go to free universities. So he has done it before with free SHS. So who would dare Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum not to do free university? And it's all about the delegates. So patriotic campaign, patriotic, what's the name? Scholarship for every delegates we are going to do for them. Yeah.
You're going to be giving out scholarships to delegates?
Not the delegates, then Ghanaians who qualify. We will make sure we do that for them. You know, he's about education. Yes.
I see. Thank you so much. We've just been engaging the campaign manager for Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, Mr. Jamfi. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back after this quick turn. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Let's shift our attention now to the transport sector. This afternoon, mounting frustration among commuters in Accra over long waits and overcrowded buses during rush hour has pushed Metro Mass Transit to deploy additional buses to major routes. The move follows weeks of passenger complaints and is aimed at cutting wasting time and waiting time, as well as easing congestion during the morning and evening peak periods. The affected routes include Accra, CBD, Kaswa, Kaneshi Kaswa, Kaneshi Amasamine, Seko Amasamine, Seko Nungwa, 37 Opebia, Adenta, Shiashi Adenta, Oponglo La Paz, and Shiashi Seko. Let's cross over now to the Metro Mass Transit head office, where my colleague Stephen Mensah is standing by to speak with the managing director. Stephen, take us away.
Faustina, among many commuters, it will be frustration and pressure, especially over the long ways they'll have to be enduring at the bus terminals, standing in buses, especially during the peak hours, for transport to go home. I'm currently here at the Metro Mass Transit Limited head office. I was speaking to the managing director for the Metro Mass Transit Limited, Mr. Caesar Kali. Welcome to JoyNews, sir.
Welcome, and thank you.
How has office been 9 months on? How has office been?
Oh, well, the office has been as normal as possible. These days, it has been somehow hectic because many people are trooping here. Either the person is a vendor or either the person is looking for employment and other transactions. So, as you can see, when you came, I was quite busy. So, the office has always been very, very busy.
And what's your assessment of the state of Metro Mass currently?
I think Metro Mass now can breathe some oxygen. You know, hitherto before we actually took over, at the time we took over, Metro Mass was in a sorry state, panting for breath, because so many things were not adding up. But since we took the office, we've been able to put pragmatic measures in place, and now at least Metro Mass can have a sigh of relief.
When you say a sorry state, what do you mean?
Yeah, what I mean by a sorry state is that at the time we came, we realized that there were so many things that were going on that were not actually, you know, making Metro Mass to succeed. The first and foremost of it is that, in fact, the workers' welfare was just nothing to write home about. And if we're in an organization like Metro Mass and your workers who actually put up their output to bring in the needed, revenue, if they are not motivated, what happens? So first of all, we needed to see how best we would turn that narrative. The second thing was that we realized that even the mobilization of resources was, not as it should be, because there was a lot of financial leakages. Because the system put in place to collect revenue in terms of ticketing and our parcels were not, strong enough. My predecessors had introduced an IT solution which they use in we call electronic ticketing, but it was not covering all the 100% of our operations, just about 40 to 50%. And haven't recognized that we can only make revenue to increase if we can go 100%. We needed to just come in to fill the gap. As I speak, at least our revenue mobilization through the electronic means is about 95% coverage. We are still battling to get it 100%. I know you understand what I'm talking about, because now if you are going to enter Metro Mass to any place, you'll be given a card. Then if you are going to, let's say, Kaswa, the Kaswa charge will be
placed on the card,
uploaded on the card. Then when you get to the conductor who allow you to enter the bus, you swipe. Then you get to know that you have paid the full cost of it. Then you go to sit down. Hitherto, it wasn't all over the country. But as we speak now, at least we are left with just some few areas that people are partnering with to be able to, get 100% coverage. Another problem was the fact that there were no availability of spare parts. You cannot work in this industry without having enough spare parts, because every now and then the buses will break down and you need to put them on road. So when we came, we realized that some of the machines were packed for weeks because of absence of ties, because of absence of brake parts. So we needed to quickly see how best we arrange to get these spare parts in place. As I speak with you, we have ties that can cover for about a year. So spare parts acquisition was one of the major setbacks of the company. Another major problem was that we also realized that our workers, state contributions that will be used to prepare them towards their retirement were not even paid. That's what we call statutory obligations. For instance, they will deduct the contributions, but it will not be paid to SNIT. So at a point in time, SNIT even took this company to court.
So where were these money going?
And the payment plan was prepared. But when we came, we realized that they were not following the payment plan. They collect fuel from GWEL, and they will not pay GWEL. So GWEL also had confronted the company, I think, in a court action, and they had to do it out of court settlement, and the payment plan was also prepared. Glyco, Tier 2, why did that workers' Tier 2 contribution, and you don't give it to the farm managers? It's a problem.
Yeah.
And we realized that they were also taken to court, and they settled it out of court.
A lot of
and
court
the
actions.
penalty alone slap on this company was about more than 6 million.
I'd want to take you back. Where were these monies going to? The fuel and the spare parts, where were they going to?
We cannot explain. The old managers can explain. And as we speak today, it is one of the major issues that we are tackling. Today, we have been able to increase revenue. When we came, our predecessors, had about 185 fleet of buses that were, operational. When we came in, we had only about 130 fleets operational. But at the time they were using about 185, they were mobilizing between 8.5 to 9 million Ghana cedis. Today we are mobilizing about 15, 16 million using lesser, using about 115 to 125 fleets. So we are doing very well with lesser fleets. So one of the problems we foresaw was administration, the management lapses. There were a lot of management lapses because even procurement itself had a problem. Anything they wanted to buy, they resorted to Abosokan, buying one by one spare parts. And when you do that, a whole lot of things will go on. But we came and said, no, this is not acceptable. We need a proper procurement procedures. So that at the end of the day, if we want even a pin, it must pass through proper procurement channels. And nobody can easily, out of that, take a company city. But if you don't do it like that, you do it haphazardly, just as it used to be. A lot of money used to go down the drain.
You talk about some lapses. How much are you looking at in terms of these activities your predecessors did?
No, I can't quantify it. But we can only detect it or determine it through the end of the month, how much you have been able to mobilize. Because if at the end of the month you are able to mobilize only just between 8.5 to 9 million. It means that if those things were well structured, as you mobilize like what we are doing today. And we also realized that one of the major problem too was inconsistent dates for payment of salaries for workers. They were paying salaries at the end of the month in bits. This week, they will pay junior workers. Next week, senior workers. The next week, management members. And workers or the staff were not happy at all with this. So, things, the center could not hold at the time. But when we came in, we had to break the storm, and we had to, put new strategies all together. By first of all looking at the financial leakages, the revenue leakages through ticketing and other things, seal those leakages, and we have succeeded in doing that, but not 100%. The next thing was also to look at the welfare of the workers. When we came, the lowest paid worker, that is a conductor, receiving 770 gross. That person has a child, he has a wife, and all other incidentals. And we have to actually move fast to ensure that this particular very low salary is improved. So the first thing was to increase their salary across board by 20%. Then the second step was that to ensure that the low salary earned workers here, meanwhile, they are the key workers with the company. Because if a conductor does not, if he fails to go to, track, there will be money for the company. If the driver cannot go to track, there will not be any money for the company. If the workshop assistant or the workshop attendant fail to, maintain the vehicles at the workshop, it means we can't even do anything with the other machines. And these are the low, paid workers. So the next step was to ensure that we give a benchmark. So management decided that, look, henceforth, let's work towards something so that the lowest paid workers should receive about 1,300. And
you think these are accounting for the challenges you were facing previously?
Yes, because when the workers were motivated, when all these low workers, low paid workers were now motivated, you could see that they were working hard, because at first I understand absenteeism, was just the order of the day. Because, as I said, if somebody is receiving 770 Ghana cedis, for heaven's sake, he needs to find somewhere to beef up. So at the end of the month, he'll be able to pay his bills, which is unacceptable.
One of the most talked about issues currently will be about the sale of about some buses currently in your possession. They say that the transport minister indicates that investigations have begun into the sale of some of these buses under the previous administration.
Let's get this conversation in proper perspective. The company, from time to time, will have to assess its machines it's using to work. What I'm talking about the machine, I'm talking about the bus or the cars or the vehicles. Now, those that are out of age and cannot perform as it used to be, we need to be scrapped and sold as scraps, auctioned as scraps. Over the years, we've realized that many of the fleet of buses that were actually given to the company were not of quality standard. So as a result, many of them broke down beyond repairs, unserviceable. So our predecessors, shortly before they left, when we came reading the books, we realized that they actually auctioned about 313 unserviceable buses. I was not there to say that whether they were serviceable or they were not serviceable. But the principle is that it must go through a certain process. But what people are raising eyebrows is the fact that some of the scrap buses were sold very low. Because even if we take any of those buses that were sold, you take out the engine and maybe the axle, and you leave even the skeletal structure. It should not sell below, the kind of figures people are seeing, because some were sold as low as 2,200, others as low as 2,500, and and thereabout. And so when people started interrogating, because already when we came, there were those allegations that the buses that they scrapped to sell to the public were not of, you cannot get value for money out of that. But, when you come here as a new manager, you do first and first to give breath to the company before you look at the other incidentals. If not, when you just come and you begin looking at those ones and rather focusing on ensuring that the company do not die, the company rather, gains strength, you focus on that first before you come to this. So we decided to focus on surviving the company because the company was at the verge of actually being liquidated, because if you cannot pay your workers.
So you can confirm that these buses were sold for rather low fees?
Oh yes, that's what I'm saying, that the records are there. There is, if you like, after this I will show you receipts.
What's the status of the investigation currently?
Oh, the minister has officially written for Metro Mars take charge of this investigation. We are going to perhaps write to Yoko referencing the minister's directives so that they can look into the sale of all these scrap buses.
My last question to you, you deployed some buses yesterday for the many commuters who find it difficult getting buses at the bus terminals. Why this at this time?
I think you've heard of the brouhaha surrounding unavailability of public transport to provide transport services, in the weeks past. And in fact, if we look at the conversation surrounding this whole thing, some people opine that perhaps some people are reneging on their responsibility to provide public transport, or maybe Metro Mars is not doing its work, or maybe there's artificial shortages of vehicles in the system. That is not it. The conversation must be properly situated. The fact is that if we look at the current situation for scrambling for vehicles, it's as a result of the economic boom. Because hitherto people did not, come to the business center to trade. Because one, there were high cost of maybe food items, high cost of items in the market, high cost of clothing and other things, high cost of fuel. So people could not even buy fuel daily to put in their vehicles to operate them and come to the business center. But today the narrative has changed. The economy is doing so well that commercial activities have expanded beyond bounds. So you go to the business center, everybody, is trading. Hawkers have increased beyond bounds. Commuters have increased because everybody can now come to the business center and buy food items, buy clothes and other things and go home with it. So it is as a result of the economic expansion leading to expansion of commercial activities. Many people come to the business center, and in the evening at this time they must go back. Now if they are going back, there will be more demand for vehicles or transport services. And for that matter, the supply of vehicles will actually, the demand for vehicles will outstrip the supply of vehicles. That is the current situation. Metro Mars, we are not just only providing bus transport services to only urban cities. We are intercity and we are intracity. We provide mass transport to the rural folk, the underserved communities. And we are also providing mass services to metropolitan, places like Accra. And so our services are across the country. And because of that, we needed to take this, urgent measures to beef up these operations, to ease up the scrambling that is going on. And that's why every evening, when some of the vehicles return to our yard here, we deploy them, reroute them to these various stations, going to, Kaswa, from the business city, going to, Amasaman and beyond, and from here to Tema, and from here to Adenta, just to help ease the congestion and the scrambling that is going on.
I'd want you to take me through the buses, the routes they'll be going to.
Yeah, so currently, maybe when you are going, you can decide to capture them. Yesterday we deployed about, I think 17 buses were deployed. This evening they are going to repeat those. And we started this law today. But people don't know. For now, maybe when it's 5, they'll begin going to the various stations. From Circle to through, Shashi, and going that direction, Adenta, Medina. Then there will be one also moving from Kimbu, from here going to Amasaman, Pokwase, that direction. And from Kimbu side, and even our yard here, some going to Kaswa. Indeed, about here, after our yard here, sometimes about 4 or 5 buses move from here to Kaswa. So all the major routes within the Accra enclave, we have bus to support commuters. What is making the work difficult is that, as I told you, because of the huge numbers of private vehicles in the system, it causes a lot of traffic. So for a bus to go to maybe Medina and come back and pick other commuters, it cannot easily come. By the time it gets here, it's late. So instead of using maybe 1 hour 30 minutes to go to Medina and come back, it will use about 4 or 5.
My colleague Stephen Mensah, they're engaging the management of Metro Mats Transit, the managing director. Let's take you now here to another part, also dealing with the transport issue. The AMA head office, my colleague Fatal Bayaga is there because the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, they've launched an operation at Ablekuma. They've arrested about 15 drivers for allegedly charging multiple fares. The task force says this is part of a broader measure to tackle the growing driver indiscipline in our roads. Fatal, you're on the grounds. Where are you right now? What can you report?
Firstly, I'm standing in front of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, where the GPRTU's task force is preparing a major hand for drivers who are operating illegally around this place. So, according to the task force, many of the drivers come here, and from here to Medina, they charge 10 cedis instead of the normal fare. So that's the reason why they are here this evening to hand some of these drivers to ensure that they address the challenge. But today it's been a very hectic day for them. They've been touring a number of places. They went to Ablekuma where they arrested 15 drivers, and they say that these drivers will be put before court in order to serve as a deterrent to other drivers who are doing this. In fact, the union says that this is a major concern for them, and they've received complaints for a number of people who say that it's their members who are doing that. But the 15 drivers they arrested today, it was just one person who was a member of the union. And the other persons, they described them as floating drivers. So they say that generally some unscrupulous people are denting the image of the union, and that's exactly the reason why they are now working relentlessly in collaboration with the government, particularly the Transport Ministry, in order to address this situation. So behind me, a number of officers of the GPRTU are here, and what they tell me is that very soon they will begin a major hand for these drivers. In fact, one of them disguised himself, joined one of the buses, and they are monitoring that as and when the conductor charges exorbitant or unapproved fare, they would arrest that driver. And I'm told that this is going to continue from here. They will move to 37 and many other areas, and they say that they are going to leave any stone unturned in terms of tackling this growing challenge, which has over the periods left many commuters stranded, particularly in the morning and then in the evening. So firstly, that's been the situation here, and we are monitoring all the developments, and we'll bring that to our audience.
Thank you so much for Tao Bayaga. And that's how we wrap up the Pulse. We appreciate your time and company. My name is Faustina Safa. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next, Pius Kujibaka will bring you business.